Now, if you didn't know, this Cinco de Mayo, we have one of the greatest trilogies set to take place. One of the GOATs of the fight game, Demetrious Johnson, looking to settle the score with Adriano Moraes, the longtime American top team product. A fighter that has just really went under the radar if you think about the level of skill he possesses, not fighting over in the UFC, not having an extensive amount of fights in the USA. He kind of goes under the radar, but make no mistake, he is one of the most dangerous men walking around at his respected weight. And yes, technically this is a bantamweight matchup, but you need to understand that these are essentially flyweight fighters, right? Over at ONE FC, they do the whole weight cut situation a little bit differently. I mean, these are fighters that have fought in the flyweight division before they made their way over to ONE FC. And if you ask me, these two fighters here are potentially 1 and 2 as far as we're talking worldwide rankings. I'm talking about all the UFC fighters. I'm talking about any flyweight fighter on planet Earth. In the sport of MMA, I think you can argue that Demetrious Johnson would still take out anybody over in the UFC. I think Adriano Moraes probably takes out all the top fighters in the UFC's flyweight division as well. Unfortunately, they're not fighting in the UFC. You guys know that that's a great disappointment for me. The flyweight division, one of my favorite divisions. I think that they would be two stellar additions if you think about these two men battling it out with Brandon Moreno, Alexandre Pantoja, Davison Figueiredo, if he chooses to hang around in the division, Kai Kara France, Brandon Royval, Matthias Nicolai. Those are some of the top fighters in the UFC's flyweight division right now, but that's not even taking into consideration all the young and up-and-coming talent. When you think of Tatsuro Taira, Bruno Silva, who's been on an absolute tear, Jake Hadley has been really making some noise as well. And of course, let me not forget one of the most promising of the young talent, Muhammad Makayev. So just to mention that, you guys know I get excited talking about this division. But we are talking some ONE FC action. And how is this trilogy going to take place? We know that they are 1 and 1, both men landing devastating knockouts. This fight really has some hype behind it.
Welcome to the show. This is the MMA fortune teller. Yeah.
The MMA fortune teller.
The teller.
So after the UFC made the trade to send Demetrious Johnson over to ONE FC in exchange for Ben Askren, when you think about it now, not the best of trades for the UFC. Demetrious Johnson went over there and really started to handle business. He went on a 3-fight winning streak before running into Adriano Moraes. And when he ran into Moraes, boy, did he ever run into him. He got hit with a nasty uppercut that was followed by a disgusting knee and really put Demetrious Johnson out. We never seen him put out in that fashion throughout his career. It was a stunning upset, I guess you would say. But a lot of people did understand that Moraes is a very dangerous fighter, but I don't think a lot of people were expecting that. Now, in the rematch, Demetrious Johnson went out there and in a very eerie fashion, essentially did the same thing to Moraes that he did to him, clipping him with a hook and then timing the knee perfectly right up against the cage and finishing him there, just showing you how game Demetrious Johnson is to go out there and to get that type of redemption. Now, there's no question that DJ felt adversity in both fights. Even when we're talking about the second match where he got his own knockout victory, he was being outstruck early on in that fight. In both fights, he was put on his back at one point in time. We saw Moraes using his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills and his natural size advantage to get on top of DJ and have some success there. But the thing I liked in the second fight for DJ was the fact that as the fight was progressing, he was starting to outland Moraes more and more, and he seemed to be in much better shape as Moraes was taking some deep breaths, and we saw the damage on his face. So I do think that the longer this fight goes on, it does favor DJ. Now, that being said, you would assume that Moraes would go back to the drawing board and make sure that cardio is a tool that he really worked on going into this match. You also have to like the fact that he's a little bit more of the primed fighter here as he's 34 years old. On the other hand, DJ, just a couple months away from being 37 years old. That's definitely up there, especially when you think about the weight class that we're talking about here. And when you talk about how these guys match up physically, Moraes, 5 inches taller. He has a 3-inch reach advantage as well. And we have already seen him take advantage of that in the cage. We've seen him use that to his advantage, and I expect him to do so once again early on. His striking is a little bit underrated, and he throws a nice jab out there. I think that he could land on Demetrious from the outside, as we saw early on in the second fight. That being said, when we're talking striking, Demetrious Johnson, one of the most technical strikers that we've ever seen in the sport of MMA. I think we've heard Joe Rogan say this before back in the day, or maybe I'm making it up, and if he didn't say it, then I'll take credit for it. But if you were to model your game, your overall MMA game, based on one specific fighter, I think that Demetrious Johnson is about as well-rounded and as technical as it gets. And when we're talking about the striking, the way he switches stances so fluidly and the way that he's so dangerous from either stance, it really carries a lot of weight on the feet. And although I do believe that Moraes will have potential to outstrike Demetrious Johnson early on once again, with you mix in the striking of DJ with his cardio, I think that he will start to outland Moraes as this fight progresses. I think that Demetrious Johnson will go after the legs, very much so. Once again, I think he'll be continuously throwing those calf kicks, which he did have some success in the second fight. And hey, you gotta love the fact that DJ has been working with Henry Cejudo for some time now. Two of the greatest fighters to have ever done it in their respective weight classes. Again, Moraes training over at American Top Team, that carries some serious weight. But you know what? I think I'm going to edge DJ as far as the bodies that he has to work with, just for the significance of having Cejudo around and some of the other men that have been around him as of recently. I really believe it carries some serious weight, especially with that natural size advantage that Moraes has. If he tries to get on top of Demetrius, once again tries to use some wrestling or whatnot, I think that will continue to see growth in Demetrious Johnson's game there as far as defending that. Even though he's getting up there in age, I'm expecting him to have really been working on that as of recently. So let's cut to the chase. How do we see this fight playing out? I think you guys know which way I'm going here. Demetrious Johnson, to me, is without a doubt one of the GOATs of MMA. I love the way that he redeemed himself in the second fight. It really just showed, how he goes back to the drawing board, how he works on things, his fight IQ, and just how skilled he is. And I expect him to be extremely motivated for this trilogy. He understands how dangerous Moraes is after facing him the first time around. I think that he's as sharp as we've ever seen him anywhere this fight goes. Again, even though he's creeping up on 37, he's 36 years old. I'm going to say that we see the best version of Demetrious Johnson compared to any time that we've ever seen him. I think he'll be the most well-rounded and the most ready to go compared to any time we've ever seen him before. So it's a huge fight. I expect him to have success landing those leg kicks. And again, he might start off a little bit slow here, but it's a 5-round fight. And I think that the cardio that he possesses will give him a good advantage as this fight goes on late. If he gets taken down, if he spends a little bit of time on his back early on, we've seen throughout the years how competent his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is, how good his get-up game is, the balance that he possesses. It's not easy to get him down there. I think that he checks off so many boxes, and I think that he gets the job done here. Maybe it goes to a decision. Maybe he takes a decision and takes this fight over late, or maybe we see another later finish by Demetrious Johnson, maybe another 4th round finish, maybe a 5th round finish, something like that. I think he will have the edge in the gas tank. And then you combine that with how deadly he is with his overall skill set, and he is a problem. So how has the betting line looked for this matchup, and where am I putting my money? You take a look over at BetMGM. They opened up DJ at a -150 line. He has crept up to a -175 favorite right now. So action coming in on DJ. You can still catch him right now on FanDuel at a -156 line. Again, he still is the favorite, and I wouldn't be surprised if that line creeps up to the -180 range, 190 range as well. I think that we see action continue to come in on Demetrious Johnson. I am locking Demetrious Johnson in at that -156 betting line, and I'm throwing 3 units at him. All right, guys, so that's where I'm going with my money. And you guys know what I want to know. Let me know below. Are you guys riding with me or are you guys fading me? All right, guys, I want to know. Again, I have thick skin, like I said. I don't care either way. Let me know what you guys are doing. I just want to see you guys in the comment section. I want to chirp it up with you guys. And I'm excited about this fight. I had to get on the mic and talk about this huge main event that's taking place. Again, not Saturday, but Friday night. All right, we got a huge Cinco de Mayo main event. You guys, I appreciate you for stopping by. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you guys have not already. Catch me on all my social media. It's all scrolling there below where you guys can catch a lot more content from me. Oh, and also if you guys are looking for a new sports book, you guys know I always have that promo going for you guys. If you reach out to me and you sign up to bovada.lv through my referral link, you get an added bonus to your account. But I also throw a bunch of official plays towards your guys' way, and I'll help you guys navigate through the website or whatever if you have any questions. I appreciate you guys. Signing out, Teller.
Welcome to the show, this the MMA fortune teller. Yeah.
The MMA fortune teller.
The teller.